Hello and welcome to the Upgrade the World podcast. I'm your host Josh, and in this episode I'll be talking about the performance of the Spot Bitcoin ETFs. When I last talked about the Spot Bitcoin ETFs in episode 30, the ETFs had been trading for about 50 days. Now that we're about 175 days out, let's see how things are going. BlackRock's IBIT, the most valuable BTC ETF, has over 300,000 Bitcoin, worth more than $21 billion. Even after substantial outflows due to competing ETFs with lower fees, the Grayscale ETF is the second most valuable, with over 280,000 Bitcoin, a far cry from the over 600,000 Bitcoin owned when the Spot Bitcoin ETFs were approved. Rounding out the top five are Fidelity Wise Origin Bitcoin, ticker FBTC, with about 173,000 Bitcoin, ARK21 Shares Bitcoin, ticker ARKB, with 49,000 Bitcoin, and Bitwise with 37,000 Bitcoin. The US Bitcoin ETFs recently set a record for the most consecutive days of inflows, having a total of over $4 billion in net inflows come in over 19 days. On 6/10/2024, that streak was broken, and with the exception of $100 million of inflows on 6/12, we saw 9 days of net outflows. On 6/25, we switched back to seeing net inflows into the US Bitcoin ETFs, with US Spot Bitcoin ETFs receiving $31 million in net inflows after 7 straight days of outflows. On April 30th, Hong Kong launched 3 Spot Bitcoin ETFs. The debut was lackluster as the ETFs only brought in $8.5 million, while the issuers expected the initial volume to be $100 million. As of June 21st, the Hong Kong ETFs hold just over $249 million worth of Bitcoin. On June 4th, in Australia, Monochrome Asset Management's Monochrome Bitcoin ETF, ticker IBTC, went live on the CBOE Australia Exchange. 16 days later, the Australian Securities Exchange ASX, which accounts for 90% of Australia's equity market, approved its first Spot Bitcoin ETF. There are now Spot Bitcoin ETFs in Canada, Germany, Sweden, Channel Islands, Switzerland, Jersey Island, Liechtenstein, Brazil, Cayman Islands, Hong Kong, Australia, Thailand, and Holland. Global Spot Bitcoin ETFs hold about $70 billion of Bitcoin, which is about 5% of the total supply. It took gold ETFs 5 years to cross $15 billion of inflows, but Bitcoin did it in 5 months. It's probably nothing. That's all for this episode. Thanks for listening, and until next time, keep upgrading.